One of the difficulties is we didn't make it into a lot of the history books because individuals involved with the project, a lot of them never actually received orders in or out of Wendover. They were usually cut for another location, but then they would happen to find themselves here in Wendover just to help cover up as a paper trail and kind of erase Wendover from the story. The classification for Wendover Army Air Base in the 1940s, getting into late 1944, when Wendover specifically was selected to be the training site for the 509th Composite Group, who were going to be dropping the atomic bombs, as well as a site for working on part of Project Alberta, which was the final engineering phase of really all the non-nuclear components of the atomic bombs out here in Wendover. I mean, that classification, that secrecy, certainly got bumped up.
There were many FBI agents on the base posing as cooks, as typists, as mechanics, to watch for any kind of activity that would be giving away the secret on the base.
They were doing everything they could to make sure this stayed under wraps, because this was one of the final phases to make sure that these atomic weapons, which we were told were going to end the war, and which ultimately played a major role, this is where that happened. Even a lot of the local residents here in Wendover, or even some of those on base, might not have had any understanding of what was really going on out here. I was a little hesitant in some ways coming out to this place where at first glance you might just notice some decrepit buildings. But as I've come to all the more get to know and love Historic Wendover Airfield, I mean, there's nothing else like it as far as the scope and the story it tells of World War II, and particularly the U.S. Army Air Force and training, gearing up these guys so that they can head overseas and fight this fight that everyone's aware of, but they're not aware of the role that Wendover played in making that happen.
When I first came, there were probably about 100 of the original 668 structures here. So we simply looked at the ones that needed the most help, and in particular the B-29 hangar that we refer to as the Enola Gay hangar. That really needed some help, and we didn't get the Save America's Treasures grant until 2009. In the meantime, we literally strapped that building together with these big wide truck straps to hold the parts that were wanting to fall down so that building would actually stay standing.
This deserves so much more recognition, and as a site for World War II history, I want to keep that growing so it becomes a national attraction, maybe a worldwide attraction. Getting people in, continuing restoration so that we have almost 90 original buildings still standing. Get all those to the point that the public can actually access them, view exhibits inside, view displays inside. There's just so much that can be done with it. Any little thing is growth out here, but we have a lot of potential.
You know, when visitors first drive into the site, we want them to immediately feel like, oh my goodness, this is unusual. We want visitors to see signs that look like they're from the period. We want the roads and the landscaping to look kind of like the stark reality of the base back then.
I mean, there's a reason that our slogan is "Walk where they walked."
The project we're looking at is perhaps 4 phases of $5 million each. This is going to be a completely unique experience on this original base that is worthy of that. It can't all be done at once, that's why we're looking at it in phases. But as each phase progresses, there will be more and more for people to see, and it'll be more and more of an attraction for people to come and say, wow, this is where they live, this is where they work, these are the aircraft that they flew in, and really be able to get just an amazing experience that they could not get anywhere else in the country.